Welcome back. It's been about a day, give or take. Most of the glue is dry. You can still see the little remnants of yellow inside. It hasn't dried up. Same thing in some of those other places. I think it's pretty good. I'm quite happy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take off all the clamps and I'm going to see if it still has that tiny little bow in it that I left on purpose, or will it spring back to be a straight line. That's going to be interesting. All the clamps are off and let's have a look. OMG. Might be even a bow in there at the end. Just need to get a bit of a better angle. So if I just hold it lightly, you can see that pretty much no gap except on there, which is a little bit sad. What about if we get closer, just underneath it? No, that's perfect. Perfectly straight. That looks like it did the trick. So having that extra clamp over the top, bending it the other way than the natural wood wants to go, seems to work, which is good, because I'm going to copy that process on the other side, and we'll should be done in a couple of days. Because yeah, as I said, don't have enough clamps. Just gonna put a little bit more glue in some spots just to make sure it's all glued up nice. But quite happy that this rib is fitting in well. Also, where's my, there it is. I did want to leave a tiny bit gap on each side. So yeah, which is good. So now it's straight this way. It is straight this way, just like it should be. Not too worried about the bottom part, because that's going to be touching something else. Fantastic. There we go. Because I didn't glue it up perfectly. Had some issues with the wood resisting me. I had to sand down this side. It's a good old belt sander. Obviously for that, full PPE, gloves, dust mask, eye protection, everything else to be worn, earplugs as well. Hence I'm screaming, because I cannot hear myself. But the result is good. Not sure if you can see it, but no gap. Okay, that's perfect. That's what I wanted. Just gonna double check it by releasing the clamps. Make sure nothing is holding this one down. But it's naturally straight. There we go. Might be a tiny bit here, but it's minute, absolutely minute. There we go. Can you see where the mirror is? Fantastic. So now that this is straight, we can put it on. I can glue it in. put a tiny little bow in it with a big clamp, and it'll be just like the other side. That's already glued up. Awesome. Cool. I'm just gonna tidy up a bit, get it all sorted, and I'll show you how it looks. There we go. It's more or less all glued up. There's a bit of a glue runoff, but I'm not too worried about it. I'm thinking of just going over through this gap so it doesn't have to take too long. Glue all this up. Again, this clamp is providing pressure on this point, pressure on this point, and a little bit less pressure on the middle, just so that it'll glue up correctly. This one's just evens it out a little bit. And what happens is, okay, so the handle is on here, and the problem is the bottom one, when I closed it, this bottom one was sticking out. So it was going this way. The other one was going the other way. Ah, there's a twist. So what we need to do is less pressure on these points, and then more pressure from the bottom. There we go. Sorry folks, turns out that one was bowing this way, that's why I made it bow that way. This one is bowing this way, so I need to make it bow this way. Tricky. Alright, at least we can fix this before the glue is dry. And yeah. Okay, I'll come back to you when I fix something. Whew, there we go. Just gonna get that, because I don't want it completely seating and then getting in the way. So that was tricksy. So what happened is I got the sides mixed up in my head, because this is the inside part. I'm gluing this on the inside. So again, so what it was when I had the door handle, if you can remember, it was bending over this way. So now I've got this beam underneath with this handle, a little bit of spacers, so it's pushing, and it's, instead of being bent this way, it strengthens it out. I did bend it about 2-3 mils, so there's a bulge about 2-3 mils here. Maybe add it on one more, and I checked it with that level. I'll see if I can show you, so please bear with me, it's not an easy task. So not a big bulge, just make it a tiny bit bigger, but that's what we want a bulge to be, because after that, when you glue seat, you let it go, the wood should naturally fight against each other and should even it out. We'll see once it's all set. Just gonna glue up this side here, because some places it's all good, but others I feel like I just need to add a little bit more, make it prettier, and then we can leave it for the night. So thanks for watching. Welcome back. It's another day. I had to use the ladder for something else, hence had to take off all the clamps a little bit early, but that's all good. And if we have a look with our straight edge, a little bit of gap there, which means we overbent it when we were gluing it up. A little bit of my mistake on that part. I thought the plywood spring back, but I guess it didn't. But at least now it's bent that way instead of it used to be bent this way. It still made correct itself, but it's all good. So it's another night. You can hear the bugs chirping. It's all getting glued up pretty good here. What I need to do is put a couple of strips down there. I'm thinking using this, because these are pretty straight, 19mm, and then one on top.
So this one will go across there, and these ones will just be underneath it from here. Hopefully it will make, or maybe, I think I'll start with these ones first, and then see how strong it is, because at the moment, if I shake it, you can see it kind of vibrates. I want to reduce that. Or do I just give up? Oh, for the best. No. I'm going to put a couple of ribs through here with this one, but what I'll do is, as you can see, there's the top part. Yep. So it starts off a little bit slope more here, a little bit bigger. This is due to the me having the running off roof. It's a little bit on an angle. What I'll do is, I'll square these off, so they'll be more perfect. Or should I just keep them the same? Choices, eh? But first, I'll just prep the wake area. I'm going to check this on the floor. And just check that on top of it. And then we'll figure out from here. Yeah, hopefully after I finish with that, I can put the door back in. And I can finally start getting these out of here. Storing all these little kids' bikes where they belong. Eh? And under the big storage. And not in my garage. Finally can get to all this stuff that I can sort out.
Anyway, better stop ranting and just get on with the work. It's good. It's a tight fit. There's a bit of a gap there, but I'm just gonna put a glue onto it, a few clamps, and then we're gonna make sure that it's nice and straight. I'm thinking, yeah, I'll keep it on there for now. Just a quick one on this side. Same thing, just gotta put a little bit of glue on the edges as far as I can. Gotta let it glue over the night and then come back to it. Considering doing it at the bottom as well, but at the moment, finish that, next day that, and then we can install it back in. Hope it will fit perfectly. If it needs a bit of a sanding, we'll sand the edges, and yeah, pretty much done. Excellent. Thanks for watching, guys. This has been DIY by NZguy. Hope you have learned something. Well, it's the next night. And this has been drying all night. I'm going to remove the tape. Maybe put some glue a bit later on top. But at least on this side, yeah, looking good. Speaking of looking good, tiny gap there. Okay, no gap, just a tiny bit on that end. Virtually no gap, nice and straight. Quite happy with the result. And yeah, so for this night, since everybody's already asleep, what we're going to do is we're going to repeat the process on the other end as well. Cut on these to length, lay it out, clamp it in, make sure it's straight, and go from there. Just before I start, just to show you that there is a bit of a bend in it. So yeah, just going to have to be the same, just like this side. We need to bow it the other way, just enough to make it viable. Here we go. This side is gluing up. Plenty of glue squeeze out because I went a bit more generous than this side. I just got a funny contraption because the clamps don't quite reach, so I'm using a bit of a leverage. Got it taped initially here, decided to put secure extra weight on top, and yeah, got the clamps in. Hopefully doesn't spring up and lose the compression that I'm after. Cool. So for today, another night done. Just gonna leave it again till the next day. Continuing to fixing the door for under the deck storage. It's been drying out for a couple of days. I mean the glue, but not the outside. So as always, it's a race against time. I'm gonna take off the clamps, gonna make sure that it's nice and straight, see how the result was, and then we're gonna install it back where it belongs. It's yeah, might rain shortly, so I don't know, we'll see what we can get done. As I said, always race against time. Still pretty decent result, but I feel like it could have been better. So what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna go and install it. Here we are. Got the door installed. These are not the final fasteners I'm using, hence a few are skipped. I'm gonna change them to stainless steel so they don't rust. And as you can see, my boys, very minimal, if it stays there. Gap up there, absolutely perfect. Quite happy with the result. Little gaps there, virtually no gap there, and yeah. And best of all, when you shake it, see if I can get a good one. No, from this angle. So yeah, doesn't vibrate or doesn't shake, so the door is pretty stable, so it's not bending over like before. Put that in, that side is sticking out, this side is in, so now it's all more or less straight. I do kind of wish it would go a bit deeper on this side, but climbing on the inside, yay, more living space. We do run into a bit of a trouble. Mainly it's this part here. Just give it a sec. There we go. So this is what's preventing it from being any tighter at this corner. Otherwise it's all good. Looks good. Just got to close these up, but that's for a later date. Mainly the door is done. So yeah. Thanks guys. Thanks for watching. This has been DIY by NZ Guy. Hope you have learned something.